Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mr. Boltini. Today we're going to talk about logging into and using Social Studies new textbook from McGraw-Hill. You'll note on the video already we're at the login. This should be something that you already have in Classroom, but if you don't, you can always go to my.mheducation.com/login, and that will direct you to the screen that you see in front of you. So where do we go from here? You notice you got the username, and you also have a password and login and the associated if you forget stuff type of thing. So you're going to log in by doing it's a little bit different than what you're used to. You start with numbers 02. Then your first initial is capitalized. Your first letter of your last name is capitalized, and then the rest of it goes in like so. So it should be very similar to what you have. We're going to try and keep this as similar as possible to what you have with school. You'll note that it starts with 02. Every single student starts with 02, and then the first initial of your first name is capitalized and the first letter of your last name is capitalized, but the rest of it isn't. Now, getting into your password, we have a little bit more complicated in the sense that your password, the first letter of your password will be capitalized. And it's the same password that you have for Sussex Charter. So whatever that may be, whatever you've been provided through school, has all been lowercase. In this case, the first letter of your password will be capitalized. So you will then input it like so and click login. And we come into the first splash screen of the McGraw-Hill. You'll note you're in the right school. You'll note the name is yours, and when you need to log out, you'll be able to go up there and click that. So what do I do here? I click the word launch. I'm sorry if you're in the 7th grade and it shows that it's 6th. I don't know why it does that. I have no explanation. You'll note that this is the 6th and the 7th grade textbook. The 8th grade textbook will have George Washington on the cover. But regardless of which grade you're in, you will always click launch. And you'll note that it goes, this is your textbook area. Under to do, I have my first assignment for the students. Is economies is the name of the subject. You can, feel free if you want to, you can click here to go to the student edition. You'll note also your name, hello guest. You can see the different chapters if you look to explore. This is important for later on when I ask you to go find something when we do a scavenger hunt. Here's the resources. You'll be able to go in here and find maps and things along that line. If you're expected to find it, primary sources you will find are important, as are a bunch of other things. So you will always go to that, but when you're in doubt, click home. You're back here. This looks familiar. You can also click here to get to the chapters right away. This will help you to find things. And you would put in what part you want to go to and then go. So, but for right now, from all the things that you need to do, you want to see what's due. This is where it's at. It says to do. You click that. Lo and behold, you have an assignment in front of you. Over here, the assignment name, the instructions, which in this case say check Google Classroom for directions. You would go to your normal classroom to get the material and work on it, get the information from what you had to do here. You'll note that the due date for this is September 21st, 2020. The expiration date, or the date that is available for you to look at, is way into November. So you need to get this submitted relatively soon. So here, let's work on this. Where do I go? This is an interactive piece. Because it says interactive. Over here is a video. This is the text because it's a lesson, and it says student edition. And again, we have another interactive called supply and demand. So let's start at the top. Let's see what this says. The directions will probably have clear where you're supposed to start, whether it's with the student edition or with one of these. It says interactive though. Why is it interactive? When I click up here, nothing happens, but you'll note down here there's numbers. So directions, click on the number buttons below to learn more about the terms used in the diagram. So I click 1, I can learn about the expansion, the part of the business cycle. I click 2, I can learn about the peak of the business cycle, and then 3, contraction or recession, the part of the business cycle, and then 4, the trough, the lowest point. So, this is clearly, about it. You're not going to be able to get back to the work by clicking the back button. You have to go up to the tab and go back to it like so. And again, here's something else. Here's a video. Let's look at the video. You can hear, you should be able to hear, they're talking about the video from, let me lower that, that's probably louder than I am. But you'll see that it's a video you can watch right there within your textbook. You can go forward, you can go back. This is all meant for you to get a better understanding. Have the freedom of the choosing. I clicked out of it because we need to move forward. And then of course this is the meat of the assignment. I know it is because I assigned it, but you will know that by opening it up and seeing that it says lesson 2. Oh, it's, believe it or not, that's the same video that was playing a few minutes ago. And look over here, there's that resource that we just saw before. There's the other one. All right, now you will note if you look at the general screen here, and I may be going fast, but this is something, again, you can rewind, you can look at it over and over again to help you out. You will note the lesson 2, exploring economics. The name of this assignment was economics, so that makes sense. And the expectation is that you will read from the top to the bottom. Why do people trade? That's a great question. Why do people trade? Many of you should have that information because we've talked about it in the past. So it matters because most people in our society buy or sell goods and services every day. Trade has also shaped the course of history in major ways. That is a very solid, good start. And so we can go down here and reading the guiding question, where the basic levels, basic ideas of economics. What is economics? You can read through this. The expectation is that you will read through this. Now, notice these highlighted words. What happens when I click on that? Wow, it tells me the vocabulary right there, resource, something that is useful. I go over to capital. Whoops, got to be over it. Money and goods used to help people make or do things. Very good. I click close. Labor, the ability of people to do work. This should help you right off the bat because you can get the answer right there. There's no hunting, there's no packing. It's very simple, very straightforward. So as you can see down here at the bottom, and this will be in pretty much every lesson, you click 2, you get a whole new set of things. Same essential question, why do people trade? Now we're on the section of supply and demand. And again, you can see what supply is. You can see the amount of good or service that a producer wants to sell. And you can go through it. And down here, we have the reading progress check. Now, more than likely, your teacher will tell you, how will the people who make goods and those who buy the goods react if the price goes down? They'll tell you to do this in the Google directions that was mentioned before, which I think it does, if I remember correctly. But if not, when you get done, you click Save. Then you go to Part 3. And again, we're reading from the top. We're working our way down. We have the yellow highlighted pieces if we need to. You'll also note that you might be able to, these little resources right here might be places for you to check in on as you're reading. They might be something here for you to say, oh, let me look at when it says recession. We already know that there's something that talks about recession here. We also know when we see what this means, we can look and say, oh, we have an understanding already for what that is, the recession part. So again, we have down here answering, identifying, this is a progress check. You can answer it. You click Save. Then you go to 4. Read, get the information. You're going to need it. Trust me, you get to 5. and then you're still not done, even after you may finding the main idea, you may click that and click save, you still have this section right here. This is the review section, vocabulary review. This is where we're following those little yellow highlighted sections. This will help you. What is capital and labor needed to make goods? Why are they needed? How does demand relate to buyers of a good? So it's not just throwing in the vocabulary. You now have to take it to the next level. How does demand relate to buyers of a good? Why are capital and labor needed to make goods? These are good questions. And again, down here, more questions that you're going to have to answer and then save. Just as a help note, before you go through this, you might want to write your answers down on a Google Doc. That way, if something happens to your computer or you lose the page, you're not losing your material. Google Docs saves automatically. So I would have no problem if you wrote the question down or copied the question over to Google Docs and then wrote the answers down and then transferred them in. I know that's an extra step, but it's a safer step. It keeps your work from being lost. And again, the graph shows the pattern of a business cycle. Maybe your instructions include doing the questions that are in the resources. And there are a number of resources up here, which I just kind of briefly glanced over. You can feel free. They generally have an interactive type of game for you to play to help sharpen your skills. And this goes...
Yes. No.
I'm going to click no, because we're going to go through this and take our time. You can do the identification game by clicking where I'm putting where you. I'm not even paying attention to where I'm putting it. I'm just going to throw stuff in. So don't measure my grade by what you want, and you can test yourself to see if it's something. And you hear it makes that noise. At least I hope you hear it, assuming everything's working out. Let's throw that one in here, and we'll see how well we did just by guessing. We got 1 out of 10. Okay. If you don't want to waste your time, you do it like that, you're just going to hurt yourself. You know the answers. I might actually put in there, give me a timer, how long did it take you? And
How to play.
And of course, if you do want to know how to play, you can click that. But all right. I think, and again, if you want to get back to you go, how do I get back to the stuff, Mr. B? I'm not sure. Again, the tab is right there. So that would be you finishing up, the most of the lesson 2 or the assignment. You can do a self-check quiz, which again, I would, think that you would want to do. And it's pretty straightforward. The act of running a business and taking risks is called entrepreneurship. I mean, you can go through all of this and then check answers. The test has been graded. You have correctly answered 1 out of 10 questions. Now, to be sure, let's make sure you understand. These are not necessarily the questions that you're going to get when it comes to you doing one of our tests. This is just an option to help you understand the chapter or the section. Because if you don't understand all of this material that was covered in this, then you can't answer those questions, then you haven't really done this work. So at some point you're going to be tested on it. If you're prepared for it, it'll show. If you're not, it won't show. There's entrepreneurship right there. So that was definitely part of this entire reading that you were expected to know. All right. Obviously, I think we are through this. When you've saved it all, you can go back to your assignments and you can see what you've done. Go back to it. You can submit it. And from there, it's just a question of then me looking at what you wrote and giving you a grade. If you don't turn it in time, you face the consequences of the policy for late work. You don't want to do that. But again, I hope this helps you. There's definitely a need to use these textbooks for students who are online for the entire the remote learning for the entire time that we're in this situation. But for those of you who are at home, on the week that you're at home, you will more than likely be using this textbook or videos along with it to answer your questions and go on with it. Okay, You have yourselves a great day. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out either to Miss Reader or myself, and we'll be glad to help you out. Take care. Have a great night.